Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for another fabulous episode. We have Susan Butler, and she is talking all about financial freedom with the sacred feminine, which, let's be honest, we all love talking about on this podcast. So let's jump right in. So how did you decide that this was important? What made this important to you?
I am a certified financial planner. I've been in the industry over 30 years. And in the process of working with couples and women and men, I just really found that most women were not engaged or involved in any of the financial decisions. And also, not very many advisors were women when I got into the industry either. And when someone would get divorced or something would happen or they'd become, or a widow would come to see me, and they knew nothing of where the money was, what it was doing. They just hadn't been involved in it. And money is an energy or a tool that you need to plan to use as a tool for your future and what you want to accomplish and what's your purpose and who do
Yes.
you want to help.
Yes. And I think it's important, like with everything that we talk about, there can be like a negative spin on it. So absolutely some women are isolated from financial stuff by douchebags. And other times it just doesn't come up because someone else has always handled it. In my family, a traditional family, the men always handled it. My dad handles the finances. We had to have a very serious talk with my mom recently. You do know dad's probably going to die before you. Someone needs to take care of your finances because you can't and don't know how. And she was like, "Oh yeah, I don't." And it's not for lack of trying. My dad hasn't like in any way blocked her from it. She just doesn't do it because dad's always been there. And it's something that it's like we don't realize we need until we don't know what a routing number is or something. And then it's like, "Oh, you mean this is important." Huh. And it is, it's about making your own decisions, I feel, because what would happen if you didn't have to ask permission from somebody or to clear it with somebody about your own money? I feel like your options and opportunities would open up a lot.
Definitely. And this is not just investment decisions or, that's the financial side of it, which I do help educate the women that I work with to have general knowledge in the area of finance. The details can be done by an advisor, but then at least you'd know what they're talking about and offering you the information to make your choices. So it's not like you have to get to know how to do everything, but to be empowered in general with how you handle money and making decisions to spend it or to save it or what you want to do with it or do with your life.
Mhm.
And for a lot of women, we're so used to nurturing everybody else that we never really thought about what would I love.
Yes. Yes. And as you're talking, I am reminded, I don't know if you're on TikTok. I'm a millennial. I'm on TikTok. And there is this huge trend and you're gonna, I think you're gonna freak out at it. So this trend is specifically women. I've never seen a man post this. Specifically women, they'll go, "I thought I was doing so well. I was putting money in a Roth IRA because that's what I was told I needed to do." And then there's this dramatic pause. Then they go, "Do you know that's not all you need to do? That's like a bank account, and then you have to do something with it. So you think putting it in the Roth IRA is no, then it has to go somewhere and be useful." And all of these, it was all women, and this was multiple posts. Okay. We're just like, had no idea, none. And I was like, that is so sad. And in truth, I didn't have any idea until my father told me. He was like, several years ago, "Well, you're getting old." "Thanks, Dad." "You have some money." "I do." "You're going to put it in a Roth IRA and then you're going to do something with it. And that's how you're going to do things." And he explained it very nicely and everything and my options. But I didn't know until someone explained it to me. And that's just like you said, you don't need all the information, but oh my gosh, wouldn't it have been nice to know that the Roth IRA wasn't the end point?
Well, let alone you're still being told what to do. You're not being given choices.
Yep.
Maybe, I'm not, there's nothing, Roth IRAs are good, but, that may not be the thing that you need or something else. It's like having some good general knowledge and good advice so that you can make an empowered decision about what you want to get into, or why. Then the advisor or the expert can find the exact product or tool that you need, but you will know why you're doing it or what you're trying to do.
Yep. And that you're saying yes or no. It's not like, okay, I guess this is what we're going to do with my money. Um, and this is something that I talk about with my clients a lot. And so I love self-care. I am the whore of self-care. I will talk about it all day, every day. I love it. And I always tell people a huge part of self-care that is never discussed is finances. You should have self-care with your money, with your daily money, with your bills, with your investment. Like, it is a part of self-care. You are loving yourself enough to invest in yourself, literally. And
Mm-hmm.
and I think that's something. Do you find that finances and financial literacy and understanding it, it's like that's a way of taking care of yourself, like even on a
Definitely.
soul
That's part
level?
of the tool of how you use it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you take care of yourself, then you're in a better position to help take care of other people, whether it's your clients or family or whoever.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to be able to take care of yourself first.
Yes, and have some sort of plan. Um, I've met tons of people. Okay, here's a question that just popped into my head. What is the advice that you would give someone who says, "Oh, I have no plan. My plan is to work until like the day before I die, and then just have like one day at the end." What would be your advice for someone who has that mentality? So there's no freedom. Where would they start? How would you advise them? What's up?
Well, number one, you don't know how long you're going to live. So, lack of planning, you could be outliving your money, you could be outliving your ability to continue to work. There's a lot of uncertainty if you're always just allowing things to happen or waiting for the future end date, whatever, that you don't even know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And, so there's the balance between, living life now and having that freedom and money to do that versus saving to last however long you live so that you don't outlive it. So there's a balance in there. And,
Yeah.
but it requires some planning.
Mm-hmm. It does. And I think it requires, dare I say, I am so sorry for all my whimsical followers, a realistic mindset. It is not realistic to think you're going to work until you die, because you're right. You may get sick before then. You may become immobile before then. You may need to live in a nursing home before then. And
And is that what you want to do?
mhm.
I mean, are you so passionate about your work that you want to work till the day you die?
Yeah, that, because to me it sounds like, oh, I love my work enough that, oh yeah, someone asked me like, what's your exit strategy? I'm like, I want to do this on my deathbed. I'm like, I want to read tarot on my deathbed. I'm good. I'm happy with what I'm doing. And like, I take tons of breaks now. I pamper myself now. So I'm good. Um but there are many people, like I said, who that's their whole plan, because they feel they have no other options. It's like, oh, there are options. If you just knew them, if there were just quite honestly, if there were other feminine presenting people that could help you slide into your feminine with finances, that would be beneficial. That it's not to be a jerk about it, that it's not a man telling you what to do with your money. Does that, like, I feel bad saying that because it sounds so sexist, and I don't mean it to be sexist, but it's like there's just something about a three-piece suit telling me how I should spend my hard-earned money that makes me a little.
Yeah, and whether it's a man or even another woman telling you what to do, it's like, don't you want to know, what results you're going for and have some say in it and some control and some power in it? I mean, or whether there's enough money to go on this trip that you want to go on or to go get that
Mhm.
massage you want or anything else. Should somebody else be making that decision or can you make that decision?
Yeah. And it's just loving yourself enough to do that, to move forward with that. So what else, like, I know you are a wealth of information, so I'm like sitting here going, oh, I could talk to you for hours. I just want to sit back and listen to you talk about this stuff. So what else do you want to share today? I want to hear more. Anything about this topic that is so relevant in this day and age to our well-being and our self-care and our respect for ourselves, like, is a big one.
Well, the one thing that women don't realize often is that the possibilities are endless and at any age. You are not limited to the circumstances that you are currently in or that you have been living in the past.
Mhm.
That's all you know. So what you have to do is be able to break free, get outside the box, be able to think bigger and allow that freedom of thinking big and dreaming big and asking yourself truly, what would I love? What would make my life just wonderful?
Mhm.
How would it feel? What would I see? What would I be doing?
Mhm.
And really getting into that and feeling that. And you don't have to know how to get there. You don't have to, you just realize, anything is possible. It may not be possible in your current reality with what you've known up until now, but it's possible to happen if you can let go and raise your energy and your frequency level to a higher vibration.
Mhm.
Because then, if you are at that higher vibration of having more freedom and doing more things and dreaming bigger, then you become open from the universe to new ideas, new opportunities. They may have been in front of you all this time, but you don't see them because you're at a lower vibration and a lower energy. And those thoughts and those ideas are at a higher energy and a higher vibration. So you have to get to a match in order to see those possibilities out there. But just for women to realize they're not stuck with their current circumstances or what they've known from the past
Yeah.
and they can do more. That's why they can get more prosperity. You can get more financial freedom, more clarity and simplicity, and in that confidence.
Mm. I love, okay. I love what you just said. Simplicity. It does not, the thing, myth about finances, it's so complicated that you'll never understand it. If someone explains it to you, you're fine. It doesn't need to be this complicated equation. Like, someone can simplify it for you and it'll be fine. Like, it doesn't need, people are making it more complicated and hard than they need to. And I think that's also out of fear. Like, oh, if I don't understand it, I won't know what to do. It's like, don't have people make the decision for you, but have someone you trust, like you, like Susan Butler, explain it to you. And she'll walk you through every possibility, and then it'll go, now pick one. Pick which one you
And
want to go with.
having somebody that can explain things at an understandable level, not talking acronyms and
Mm,
fancy language, because even a lot of the advisors might be talking above a level that you're comfortable with. And
mm,
the last thing that anyone wants to feel is stupid, that they don't know something, they're ignorant, they don't know what to ask
mhm,
and all. And it's just but when you get empowered with a lot of this, empowered with how you handle money and what you're doing with it, you will feel more comfortable asking the question, saying, I really don't understand the way you're saying this. And
mhm.
this is what I'm trying to do. How will this help me?
Yeah, and I feel like the more you understand, the more you're willing to say no with
Mhm.
finances, because when you don't know, and no one's explained it to you, when someone when any advisor or well-meaning person is like, this is what you should do, and you're just like, okay, because I don't know any better, so okay. But once someone explains it to you, you can be like, oh no, that doesn't feel right with me, or that doesn't align with my goals of what I see for my money. and and to be able to say no is so much easier when you understand what you're saying no to and what you're saying yes to. Like, I would find it very difficult to to say yes to anything that I didn't understand with medium to large chunks of money. So vacation and up, I would find very hard to be like, "Oh, yes, I wanna do that." It's like, "But I don't understand it." It's like, "That's too much money to say yes to doing anything with unless I know what's happening." Small things, like, don't get me wrong, I will order the different food at a restaurant occasionally just to try it, and I'll be like, "Hmm, well, that was a waste of money and carbs, but that's okay. That's okay." Lesson learned, $50 lesson learned, got it. Okay. $50,000 lesson? No. No. I wanna know what I'm getting. I don't wanna
You
guess.
all you also want that peace of mind at
Mhm.
night, and you don't want the stress and worry over money. I mean, what's the number one thing that people argue about or stress about, either in a marriage or even individually? And it's money,
Mm, mhm.
money issues.
And people get weird about it too. It's not even that they stress about it. People get weird about it, and then it gets awkward. So, like, whether it's stressful or not, you're sitting there with an Argyle elephant in the room who's tap dancing, and you're just like, "Why? Why?" And everyone's like, "Because it has to do with money." And you're just like, "Can we not do that now?" Because that, I think, was a big thing for me when I became successful and my life changed once my business took off and I grew it to a certain amount. People viewed me differently because of money. And I'm not uber wealthy. Let's be clear. I don't have a gold toilet or anything, but it became very awkward with people to have money or use money or talk about certain things. And if you are comfortable with the money that you're making and comfortable with how you're using it, those conversations become less awkward. They become very factual. Because at the beginning, I felt so awful because people were making me feel awful and awkward about, really, you dropped everything and flew across the country? Yeah, there was an event. I was invited. I wanted to go. It was a great business move. um,
That's actually a negative paradigm around money, is that you will lose your friends because you're suddenly more successful and everything else. And if you don't feel good about what you're doing and empowered about what you're doing, then that could have pulled you back and sabotaged your own efforts.
yes. And it's now that, so like the awkwardness, now that it's more factual where I just say, "Oh yeah, this is what I'm doing." And people are like, "Oh, cool. That's cool." Like, but you have to do that from a place of, like you said, feminine freedom. You have to do it from a place of knowing what is best for you and being confident in what you're putting your money into, and being okay with that, personal and professional. Like, I make far more big business and money decisions with my business than I do with my personal life. I will spend so much money on my business because my business is my baby and I want to spoil it rotten, spoil it beautifully and have it flourish more. My personal life, I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'll eat ramen, it's fine." um and but it's like, yeah, I you're right. It is a huge myth that, like, oh, once that changes, it's everything changes around you. And if your energy doesn't align with what you're doing, that is true. But if you align with what you're doing, people are pretty chill with it.
Well, a lot of people don't feel the self-worth either, and they are secretly sabotaging their own efforts
Ooh,
to
yeah.
success. And that's why they'll make some move to move forward, and then it'll get pulled right back again, because you keep sabotaging yourself as long as you have these negative thoughts around money.
Yes, yes. And it's a hurdle. It's for some people, it's a huge hurdle. And for others, they're like, once someone like you explains it, they're like, that was that was the thing I was missing. Yes, yes, let's do it. I want to do this, this, and this. Let's make it happen. And they freak out because they didn't realize it was that one missing piece. But I feel like you're the kind of advisor, you're the kind of person who would help them figure out, educate them on the whole like umbrella of it, but then figure out what's the one thing that they were missing that's like, okay, let's click this into place to have you actually have true freedom, not perceived freedom. You know? I think that's very powerful.
Well, also, I was an advisor for many years. I actually gave up my licenses to do the coaching, which was huge because that was many years of study and testing and everything else. But I wanted to be able to coach women and help guide them toward their decisions and their empowerment, not make decisions for them.
Yes. Okay. In the spiritual industry, the industry that I'm in, we use advisor in a different way. And so like
Oh,
I'm saying
mhm.
advisor because it's a spiritual industry word that means something completely different. You're like,
Yeah.
"No, no, advisor is like a financial term." And I'm like, "Oh, that's because you're in a different industry than me." And so I'm like, "Oh yeah, so yours would be coach. So thank you so much." See, it's it's information. And isn't it wonderful to have this information that then makes it easier to make decisions and navigate? Because even just that word, like I feel so much more comfortable just knowing the differences in the financial industry because I, coming from where I'm coming from, would have seen financial advisor as a coach, and those are not the same thing. But
Mm-mm.
in my brain, from my industry, I would have put them there because I didn't have the information. I didn't have the knowledge to effectively navigate my own freedom. So now that I know that that word means something different, I will look at it differently in the financial scope. And it's like, I feel like that will help with a lot of misunderstandings in the future.
And this is why you want to be empowered and why you want to be able to make decisions and have enough understanding without having to understand all the years of study that I had done in finances. You don't need all that to feel empowered to make decisions around your money and finances.
I love it. I love it. So I know that you have a wealth of information. I know that you love sharing your information to make sure that women are in their feminine as they are discovering financial freedom. Is there a way for people to do that? Do you have a website or a gift or anything that you would like to share with the listeners today?
Well, the website is right here in right there. And the gift that I'm offering for everybody today, it's very simple. It's feminine financial formula.com. And this will give you 5 steps in the formula toward gaining more prosperity and understanding.
I love that. That is fabulous. So before we sign off, are there any final pearls of wisdom that you would like to share with the listeners today about financial freedom?
Well, start with thinking bigger, thinking of new possibilities and dreams, and it's not impossible. It really isn't. And it's amazing. You start thinking of this over and over again, things start happening. Like I had a 3-year dream and it started happen certain things started happening within the first year. And I was just like, whoa, this is a so pleasant surprise. And it works. And so you've got to start by letting go and getting outside the box from all the things that you have known up until now
Mhm.
and start dreaming bigger and realizing that possibilities are there and they are endless.
I love that. Thank you so much, Susan Butler, for coming and sharing all this amazing knowledge with us and just being a part of this. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Wonderful. And to the followers and listeners, remember to subscribe if you would like to see more. We are here doing this fabulousness as often as possible. If you got entertainment or joy or any facts from this, please like this video. And then, of course, if you have questions, comments, concerns, pop them in the comment section. We are here to help. Go forth, be the hero of your own story. And remember that financial freedom is really much closer than you think it is.